CAN bus hacking, having lots of fun with it. So in the car right now, it's turned on and running. Laptop here, this is Pecan, it's called Pecan View. So that's the software that runs this guy, which is a CAN logger. So what I did is I ran a couple wires from behind the dash, from the aftermarket CAN adapter that works, that allows this Android head unit to work with the factory CAN bus system. And so I broke out the CAN bus itself. The orange guys are connected to the factory, I think it's the infotainment bus. I still need to confirm that, but I'm pretty sure. Then the yellow wires are going to the CAN adapter for the radio. So I've got it pretty crude here, just loose ends that I can twist together to connect or disconnect. And what I've got now is the radio is now not connected to the bus anymore at the moment. And I have my Pecan tool tapped into the factory infotainment bus. And in doing so, I'm monitoring the CAN bus messaging. So there's cycle time, there's the message IDs, and the actual messages that are on the bus. And I've done a bit of decoding, and I'm also transmitting, using that Pecan tool, some particular messages. So in this case, actually right now, I'm only transmitting the lower 3. So this very bottom one, from what I can tell so far, this value is an indicator of what status the radio is in. So it kind of gives the rest of the car an idea of whether it's in like telephone mode or radio mode or whatnot. Still working through those details. But then these two other, so that's the 661 in hex. The 261 and 263 in hex, those, I discovered those online and I've confirmed them in the car. These are all ASCII 2 characters. So these are text that would come from the radio, or anywhere else rather, to display on the center, what's called DIS screen. So I've programmed my own message, and would you look at that? This just happens to be Eric's Audi RS4. This 261 is the top line message, so that's ERIC''S, and then the 263 is the second row up there, so this is AUDI, and then you have to include the space, which is the 20 in hex, and then RS4. So those, that I just figured out pretty simple by doing a good old Google. Oops, let me see here. And in Google, I just found this table of ASCII 2 characters on the left column, hexadecimal in the center column, and so that's what I used. So for example, the first letter E is a hexadecimal 45. What I have learned also is that the display will only display capital letters, so it will not display lowercase. At least I believe that's the case so far. So again, E is 45 in hex, and if you look at the top line, 261, the first digit is 45. What it also appears is that by default, it wants to center the text. So that's one thing I have to figure out in terms of the formatting, is how does it handle the characters left to right? Does it always center justify, or does it left justify or right justify? Because the goal here is for that, those, at least the upper 2 lines, to display data that I want from the Arduino, among other things. So I need to learn how to manage the digits. So as numbers change from, let's say, 1 to 2 to 3 decimal places, or characters, how do I handle all that? But this is just the start. Super happy with how it's going. And of course, the goal is also to integrate these switch button, the steering wheel buttons, into the mix. So I got to figure out what those are in the messaging, and how those I can make the Arduino work to move through different values on the display here. I'm getting nerdy. Cool beans.